Good morning. It's not noon yet. Sir, would you introduce yourself? Mr. Davis, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number, please, sir.
Leonard Davis, number 98852.
All right, Mr. Davis, you're here this morning, seeking a commutation of your sentence. And you were sentenced we said you're in Vernon Parish. You received a life plus 10-year sentence for second-degree murder, attempted simple robbery, simple burglary, and theft. Is that information?
Yes, ma'am.
That's correct. Okay. Yeah. Just let me acknowledge we have here with us who will speak in opposition, a representative from the district attorney's office in Vernon Parish, and we'll call on her at the appropriate time. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Marabella, Mr. Davis. So would you answer his questions, please?
Good morning, Mr. Davis. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
My name
sir.
is Tony Marabella. I'll be asking you a few questions, okay?
Yes, sir.
How old are you, Mr. Davis?
67,
And how long have you been in prison?
40 or 42 years.
And so how old were you when you came to prison on these charges?
24. I was 24.
Okay, let's talk about you at 24 years old. What were you working at 24?
I was drawing disability and Social Security. I had got a shot and I was halfway paralyzed in both arms. So I was drawing disability.
How did you get shot?
Well, I was home. My brother was home one night, and a couple of dudes jumped us and shot me in my leg. So I was sitting in the back of the car, and they just shot me in the back of the leg, and that's how I got shot.
Were drugs and alcohol ever an issue for you? Did you start using? Were you using drugs when you were a young man?
Oh no, no sir, no sir,
Never
no,
used drugs at all?
no sir.
How about alcohol?
I drank alcohol, yes sir.
Yeah, how much did you drink? When did you start drinking alcohol?
I don't know, but I've been drinking for a while. I was drinking alcohol for a while. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I drank heavy. I drank kind of heavy.
Okay, well, tell me what kind of heavy means. What does that mean? What did you drink?
I was drinking vodka and wine, maybe a little beer.
A little what? I didn't hear the last part.
Maybe a little beer.
A little beer, okay. And how often would you drink wine, vodka, a little beer?
I was drinking about, I would say every day, just about every day.
Okay, and how long did you do that for?
For some years.
Up until you came to prison?
Sir?
Up until you came to prison?
Yes, sir.
So tell me about these charges that you're in prison on. Tell me about why are you in prison? What are the charges that how were you involved in the 3 charges that find you in prison? You're in prison because you robbed and you beat a man, and then you killed Mr. Parks, and then you broke into an elementary school. So tell me about those. What was your role in those 3 offenses? Okay,
well, on this part of breaking, excuse me, I get kind of steady. I get kind of hung up with words. I'll do the best what I can. But on the school board, on the burglary thing, me and Mr. Holmes went to the school board and one night. So we broke in the school board, went through the windows and took the air conditioner and got the air conditioner and sold it.
Were you drinking that night?
No, sir, I wasn't drinking that night.
Weren't drinking that night. So alcohol wasn't involved in that burglary.
No, sir.
Okay. How about Mr. Ronnie Parks when y'all beat Mr. Ronnie Parks to death with a pistol?
Mr. Ronnie Parks went to his house. We were talking one night. We was just stand up talking, and all of a sudden, we got all them in there, and we got in a fight, and I got the pistol and got to beating him in the head, and that's what beat him to death. He bled to death.
What was the argument about? Why did y'all get in an argument, and why did you have a gun? Where'd you get the pistol at?
Well, I had the pistol with me. I had the pistol with me really just to, trying to scam a little bit, but it turned out, or worse than that there, I really just wanted to scam with it, I didn't really try to
Drinking that
hurt.
night? Were
Sir?
you drinking that?
Yes, sir. I was drinking that night. Yes, sir.
Now, you said something about an alcohol. Are you an alcoholic?
No, sir, I'm not an alcoholic, but I drink a lot. I drink
Well,
a lot.
what do you call an alcoholic?
Yeah, I always thought an alcoholic is you have to drink every day and and be just, drink. That's what I really thought an alcoholic was.
So you think an alcoholic is a person who drinks 24 hours a day?
Yes, sir. That's what I was thinking.
Well, you've been in prison now for how many years? You said 42 years?
Yes, sir.
Well, what do you believe an alcoholic is now?
I don't know. I haven't had a drink in 47 years, so I really wouldn't know.
I accept that you're in prison, but what is an alcoholic? What do you think an alcoholic is? Do you think now, after having been in prison for 42 years and taken a few programs that you've taken, that maybe you were an alcoholic back then?
Yeah, my problem. I probably would have. I probably would, sir.
Now you're asking us to let you out, or at least to commute your sentence,
Yes,
so
sir.
you can hope to get out. How will you stay sober? How will you be able to tell me and convince me that, look, I'm not going to go back out there and start drinking again?
Because I haven't had a drink in 47 years. I didn't need. I don't need none there, and I don't need none there. So I wouldn't even have to drink no more. I wouldn't even probably think about drinking.
Have you taken any programs involving substance abuse? Do
Yes,
you
sir.
know about AA meetings and 12 steps? Have you done any of those kind of programs?
Well, I'm in those program now, sir.
You're in, or you're in now?
I'm in 100 hours, thinking for change, anger management, and substance abuse.
Okay, now you're in, I show that you began thinking for a change this year. Are you still in that program?
Yes, I think I got about 2 or 3 weeks left before I graduate out of it, I believe. I think.
Okay. And I also show that you took anger management in 2022, last year. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You took living in balance also in 2022?
Living in who?
Living in balance.
Yes, sir. Substance abuse, yes.
Tell me what you learned in living in balance. That has something to do with substance abuse. Tell me what sort of things you learned about your alcoholism in living in balance.
Well, I learned how to, control the alcohol and, and try to stop drinking.
Tell me what you
by
learned
talking
about how to control. I was talking over you, and that's my fault. I talk too much. Tell me what you learned in living in balance on how to control your alcohol use.
Well, control my alcohol use. I was trying not to just think about alcohol, and then since I've been in prison, I said, well, don't think about alcohol, because no, I can't get it, I can't have it. So I try not to think about alcohol, and that would help me out on that part there, sir.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Davis. If you were to be released in the near future, where would you live?
With my daughter
Where's your daughter live?
in Leesville at 1502 King Road.
And do you know why you used to drink? What caused you to drink? Why would you resort to alcohol?
I don't know, I guess as a young age, sir, I come up and just start drinking, I guess, like, coming up, young in the early age, I just started drinking.
Well, I've never lived in Leesville, but I've lived in South Baton Rouge, South Louisiana. And I know almost everywhere in Louisiana you go, they got a bar, people are
Yes,
pushing
sir.
you for alcohol. Want you to have a drink with me? Come on, have a seat, have a drink. You're too good to drink with me. They push alcohol on you. How are you going to be able to resist that?
Well, I wouldn't hang around the people that's drinking no more because.
Oh,
because
I
hang
hear
around.
that, but you go to a restaurant, you go anywhere, almost everywhere sells alcohol. Beer, wine, for sure. How are you gonna be able to say no when you go to a crawfish ball or something like that? Everybody's drinking beer, here, just have one.
Just say no to drugs, to alcohol. I just say no. I ain't doing it no more. I ain't had a drink in such and such many years. I don't need it no more. No,
Have you ever gone to AA meetings?
no, sir.
Have you ever taken any programs that involve the 12 steps?
No.
What programs besides living in balance, anger management, and thinking for change? What other programs have you taken?
Well, I just got started in the 100-hour club. It probably is my first or second week off in the 100-hour
Okay.
club. I mean,
100 hours of pre-release? Okay. What about your
Yes, sir.
disciplinary record? How many write-ups have you had while you've been in prison?
Well, I think I got 2 right now, but I know I got quite a few. I don't know if they wiped them out because my conduct record was good or whatever, but I think Mr. H told me last time I checked, I think I had about 2 of them.
2 of them, how long ago? I show you had 75.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
When was
Yeah.
your last one? You know?
Probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I think, huh?
Okay, I show that your last one was around 2016. Is that about right?
Yeah, probably about right, 16, 20. Yeah,
So
but
when you said, I think you had 2, you didn't just get 2 recently.
no, because like I said, I had told them, I know I had more write-up that I thought that maybe they had wiped some of them out, because of a conduct record or whatever.
Now tell me about your work in prison. You've been 22 years working the same job, is that right?
Yes, sir. 27.
Tell me what kind of work you do.
I was serving food in the dungeon and the lockdown and it's segregated and mitigate. I was serving the food in there, sir. I was serving food in there.
Tell me a little bit about your medical issues. I understand that you have emphysema, is that correct?
Yes, sir. I got a bad heart. I got a breathing problem. I got a stent in my leg. I got high blood pressure. Quite a few things, sir.
How did they treat your emphysema? Have you ever had any surgery on your lungs?
No, they give me what they call that not emphysema, what they call that stuff you can't hardly breathe. They call it I can't call the name of it.
Asthma.
No, it's not.
Inhaler?
Yes, ma'am, but it's not the asthma. It's that when you say hard, you get the breath out.
Right.
They got
Do
it
you have a
now.
machine that you use?
Yes, ma'am, I got a pump and I got 2.
I'm thoroughly familiar with that. My father had emphysema many years ago. I know what condition emphysema is. Now I understand that you were having a procedure recently on your lung. They did a biopsy on your lung. Have they
Yes,
given
sir.
you any
Yes, sir.
results on that? Do you know the
Yes, sir.
results of that?
Well, I just come from the hospital last Wednesday, and they stuck a thing off in my throat. It was told me they were looking off in my throat because they think I had cancer. They think I had cancer. So
Okay, did you get any results back from those tests yet?
no, sir, because it was just only been last week.
Okay, now I see are you in a wheelchair?
Yes, sir, cause that's because I can't stand up, walk too far, and shortage of breath.
Okay, and are you in a wheelchair most of the day?
No, most of the time I get around, I walk around with the wheelchair.
With a walker? With a walker?
Yeah, try to keep moving.
Tell me, you said your daughter is who you're gonna be living with in Leesville, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Who all lives there?
Well, my daughter and a son and her daughter.
How old is your daughter? You have 5 children, I believe, is that right?
4. I have
4?
yes, one got killed, very small.
Why haven't you taken more programs? I show you, it doesn't look like you've taken a lot of programs in the time that you've been there. Why haven't you taken more programs?
Because I went to the cell block. I went to the cell block on my own, and the reason I stayed in the cell block so long because I was doing good in the cell block. I wasn't getting in no trouble and nothing, and I didn't have to worry about nobody messing with me. So I working there, and so I liked it there. I liked my job I had, so that's why I stayed there 27 years here. That's why I wanted to stay there 27 years.
What can you tell us about Mr. Davis?
So,
I can tell you that he did stay in the cell block 27 years. He recently got out there in 2021. And most of it because he requested to stay there. And he's had a very, very extensive health, very extensive health issues. He just recently had a biopsy and they're waiting for the results of it to see if it's positive for cancer.
Thank you. That's all the questions.
I have one question.
Okay, Mr. Freeman?
I see he has 2 write-ups for Ward Nampo for contraband in 2012 and 2004. What was that contraband?
contraband in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Contraband.
Yes, I do.
2012. It had to be when I
Yes,
was,
he got about 5 items.
Mr. Davis, do you remember what that write-up was for?
no, the only thing I could think was a contraband is when if it was in 2012, well, when I had a leg problem and I was going to the hospital, I had to get a shot because I couldn't walk and I don't know I could walk, so I had a shot. And so I had a dirty urine, and that's about the only contraband that I got wrote up for. And maybe had a little pills, some pills, and I know I got
Hey, it's for tobacco.
It's tobacco, okay. It wasn't drugs, alcohol.
No, sir.
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. So at this time, we'd like to hear from the DA's office.
Can I ask just one
Oh, I'm
question?
sorry, yes.
Mr. Davis, did your family know that you were gonna have a hearing today?
Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am.
Okay, because nobody's here for you today.
Yes, ma'am, because they really don't have a way around, ma'am, and I really didn't want them traveling on highways, by themselves, cause I think if something happened, I would never forgive myself.
So you didn't know that they could appear like you are on a video? You didn't know that they could join in on a video and we could see them and talk to them on the video?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
You knew that they could do that, or you didn't?
I knew they could do it, or from the reading the paper, I knew they could do it, ma'am.
Why didn't you tell them that?
I really don't know, ma'am. I really don't know why. I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't.
How old is your daughter?
She's about 40, 39 or 40, one of them.
Do you know what kind of work she does?
She doesn't work to your, disability, disability,
She works or
Yes,
she
she
gets
draws.
this?
she draw the check.
Okay, so she didn't have a
Yeah,
job.
she draw the check,
She's disabled.
yeah.
So how's she gonna take care of you?
I guess from the money that she get, I guess if I get out, I would trying to get me a job, because I like having money, having getting a paycheck every week, every 2 weeks. So I guess she was trying to help support me the best that she could, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Afternoon, board. My name is Cynthia Lattiser. Prior to returning, I worked for 25 years, and so I have approximately 27 years experience as a prosecutor. And I come to you today on behalf of the state of Louisiana, the people of Vernon Parish, to oppose the release or the commutation of Mr. Leonard Davis. In researching and preparing for this hearing, we found the old forensic report. Mr. Ronnie Parks, age 23, who died on August 16, 1981, at the hands of Mr. Leonard Davis. The narrative of the findings from Dr. George McCormick. This subject died of shock following multiple traumatic injuries of the head and face. He was apparently beaten severely, and the instrument used had sharp points or edges rather than being broad and flat. The injuries involved lacerations of the face and scalp with multiple underlying skull fractures. Death followed shock due to the combined effects of blood loss and the severe trauma. There was no evidence of recent abuse of ethanol or the common drugs. As I read through this report, each wound given a letter of the alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. He hit him so many times, he destroyed the gun. The gun was in pieces, left at the crime scene. That's how violent this was. And this wasn't his first go-round. He had previously been arrested for an armed robbery, which was led down to an attempted simple robbery of a Mr. Stivers, who wrote in opposition today to this release, this commutation. Mr. Stivers wrote in his letter about how Mr. Davis threatened his life. He was picked up one evening, one night, by Mr. Davis and two of his buddies. They proceeded to beat him severely. Mr. Davis told him he was going to He loaded a shotgun in front of him, took him out to a cemetery. They subsequently hauled him back into town and turned him loose in some neighborhood where he had to go door to door asking for help. He thought he was going to die that night. He writes in his letter, he is a danger to society. He knows firsthand. He committed other crimes. He's a multiple felony offender. He was sentenced as an official. This board, not this board, but the parole board at the time, back in June 28th of 2005, denied a commutation, a request for commutation at that time. The reasons for denial were serious nature of the offense, probation, parole, unsatisfactory filing, which he did. He violated his previous probation. The opposition that was expressed. Today, we have opposition by all law enforcement involved, with judges of Vernon Parish, the sheriff of Vernon Parish, the chief of police of the city of Leesville, the district attorney, and I may be missing some others. There's plenty of opposition to the police. Insufficient self-improvement was another. That hasn't changed much. He has taken a few classes here in the last year or two in the hopes that it's going to get him over the hump. He hadn't taken any classes since 1997. He has no GED. He's not even made that effort. "75 disciplinary reports." Let me read it. Just a few of them. I won't bore you at all.
We do have the record.
Yes, ma'am. I'm just trying to make them. That's all. Disobedience. Unauthorized area. Unauthorized area. Disobedience. 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 Contraband. Contraband. Disobedience. Disobedience. Gambling. Contraband. Disobedience. Aggravated. Disobedience. Aggravated work offense. Unauthorized area. That's just an example. He has been disobedient since he was at least 20 years old. He's made minimal efforts to improve himself for hopes of reentering society. And I can tell you, the people of Vernon Parish don't want him back. Thank you all.
Thank you. We appreciate your participation. Mr. Davis,
Ma'am,
is there a statement you'd like to make to the board before we vote?
yes, ma'am. I just like to regret for the pain and suffering I caused the victim, and I was wrong, and I apologize for the family and the community, ma'am.
Great, thank you, sir. Is the board prepared to vote?
Yes,
Mr. Marabella?
thank you. Mr. Davis, I just want to thank you for talking with me today. I enjoyed the interview process. Can you hear me okay? I see something on there I can't read. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You know, Mr. Davis, in talking with you, you know, it seems that you had a pretty serious drinking problem. Still do. You're an alcoholic. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. I think that wish you had taken some more alcohol courses. I think that you've got a chance to still be able to get a few of those things under your belt, because it's going to be real difficult for you to go back out in society, especially in Louisiana, and not drink if you don't have sufficient tools to be able to do that. I'm not sure how much help your daughter can give you. I really do wish that your daughter had been here today, or someone had been here today who expressed to us support for you and where you would be staying. The crimes you committed, no question, are horrible crimes. As the assistant DA has pointed out to us, it was a terrible crime. That was a long time ago. You seem to be a changed person today. You haven't taken a whole lot of courses. The warden spoke fairly highly of you. You were in your cell basically for 27 years. I understand that. You have a low risk factor. You're 67 years old. I'm 76, so I understand that's not that old. Okay, I'm sitting here older than you, so I realize hopefully you got a little more time left to live. But you've been in prison for 42 years. And while you may have had 75 write-ups, you haven't had anything since 2006. You've got some health issues. You've got some things that you need to deal with. As I say, I am concerned about where you're going to live, where you're going to stay, and what you're going to do. But I do believe that it's time for you to get some relief. So my vote today is to recommend to the governor that he commute your sentence to 85 years and make you immediate parole eligible. That means you're not getting, well, everybody goes along with me. I don't know whether they will or not, but under my recommendation, you're probably not getting out for a little while, so you might be able to put together where you're going to live and what you're going to do. Okay? My vote, and that, Madam Chairman.
Mr. Freeman?
Thank you.
Mr. Marabella, could be tough on you out there, I'm gonna tell you. But you got to stay away from alcohol.
Yes, sir. I will.
Not gonna make it. So that's my vote also.
Mrs.
Thank
Jackson?
you. Thank you.
Mr. Davis, given your age and your obvious physical health issues, I don't see you as being a danger to society. I think you outlive that capability. If you share the concerns about whether you have a transition plan, somebody can help you in the world. It may not work out that way, but in view of your age and your health and the amount of time you serve, my vote would be likewise to recommend commutation to the same term as Mr.
And thank you, ma'am. Thank you, board members.
Mr. Roche?
Mr. Davis, I understand that you've been incarcerated for 42 years.
Yes, sir.
I understand that you have medical issues. I understand that you can't get around like you used to get around. I understand all of that. But you are ill prepared to re-enter society. You have a very poor transition plan. You have a lack of rehabilitative programs. You have a prior criminal history. You have a poor supervision history. And you have overwhelming opposition from the legal community, and some of the victims of your crime are also opposed. For all the above reasons, I'm going to deny your request.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Roche. Okay, Mr. Davis. I too am concerned about your lack of programming. I realize that you, as you said, you stayed in the cell block for a quarter of a century. But that also tells me a little something about you. So I don't think you're ready yet. You haven't acknowledged that your alcohol problem is a serious one. It resulted in these crimes. My vote today would be to deny and encourage you to take advantage of programs when you can, substance abuse issues, reapply whenever you're eligible to do so. So you've received 3 favorable votes today, 2 that were not favorable to your request. So today, sir, your application's been denied.